Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yechi Chansong. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 28th of October. Prime Minister Modi bats for mutual cooperation to secure ties during COVID-19 pandemic at ASEAN-India Summit. Pakistan declares banned Islamist group TLP as militant outfit following violent clashes. And in Kabul Children's Hospital, medics struggle with staff shortages. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday addressed the 18th ASEAN-India Summit via video conferencing. PM Modi touched upon a range of key issues, including COVID-19 pandemic, trade, South China Sea issue, and stressed how ASEAN members play an important role in India's vision for the Indo-Pacific. The 10-member nations' unity and centrality has always been an important priority for India, he added.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday attended the 18th ASEAN-India Summit via video conferencing at the invitation of current chair Brunei. Addressing the summit virtually, Prime Minister underlined the centrality of ASEAN in India's Act East policy and in India's vision for the wider Indo-Pacific vision. On COVID-19, the Prime Minister highlighted India's efforts in the fight against the pandemic in the region and also reiterated support for ASEAN's initiatives in this regard.
कोविड-19 महामारी के कारण हम सभी को अनेक चुनौतियों से जूझना पड़ा, लेकिन यह चुनौतीपूर्ण समय भारत आसियान मित्रता की कसौटी भी रहा। कोविड के काल में हमारा आपसी सहयोग, आपसी संवेदना भविष्य में हमारे संबंधों का बल देते रहेंगे।
The leaders exchanged views on enhancing India-ASEAN connectivity in broadest terms, including physical, digital, and people-to-people. The discussions also covered regional and international issues of common interest and concern, including South China Sea and terrorism. India's Foreign Ministry Secretary East, Riva Ganguly Das, later in a press briefing said, Prime Minister Modi has invited the ASEAN members to join the Indo-Pacific initiative. On Wednesday, PM Modi virtually addressed the 16th East Asia Summit, where he reaffirmed India's focus on a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific and the principle of ASEAN centrality in the region.
At least 8 people were killed and several injured after a bus fell into a gorge in Doda district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir territory on Thursday. Rescue teams immediately reached the site and pressed into action, and the injured were rushed to the hospitals. At least 8 people were killed and several injured on Thursday after a minibus reportedly went out of the driver's control and fell into a deep gorge in Doda district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir territory. Rescue teams were immediately pressed into action at the accident site on Doda-Thatri Road, and all the injured had been rushed to a local hospital, an official said. Jammu and Kashmir's Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha said he was monitoring the situation and assured of every possible assistance.
हम उधर पार थे तो जब उधर से गाड़ी आवाज आई हमने गाड़ी देखी तो उधर से गाड़ी सीधी एक पलटा खाया उसने तो सीधी नीचे आ गई तो 3-4 पलटे खाते गाड़ी इधर आ गई सवारियां कुछ इधर कुछ उधर मतलब गिरी हैं.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief over the incident and announced an ex gratia of nearly $2,660 each to the next of the kin of the deceased. The hilly Doda district is infamous for its treacherous roads, on which overloading and rash driving often result in fatal accidents. The Pakistan government has declared banned Islamist party TLP, the Tehreek-i-Labbaik Pakistan, as a militant outfit after at least 4 policemen were killed and hundreds wounded in fresh clashes on Wednesday. The government has also deployed paramilitary rangers for 60 days to deal with TLP supporters protesting to demand expulsion of the French envoy over caricatures published in magazine in France, which they consider blasphemous.
The Pakistan government on Wednesday announced it has decided to declare TLP, the Tehreek-i-Labbaik Pakistan, as a militant outfit after at least 4 policemen were killed and hundreds wounded in fresh clashes between supporters of the banned Islamist party and police in Punjab province, prompting Prime Minister Imran Khan's government to deploy paramilitary rangers in the province for 60 days to deal with anti-blasphemy demonstrators marching towards capital Islamabad. Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmed said the government has categorically decided it will not meet the TLP's demand of closing down the French embassy in Pakistan over the publication of a series of caricatures depicting the Prophet Muhammad by a French satirical magazine, and stated there was no French ambassador currently in Pakistan.
पंजाब हुकूमत जहां चाहे वो रेंजर्स को इस्तेमाल कर सकती है और मैं 24 आवर जब मैं कहता हूं तो मैं सारी सुबह 3:30 पर मैंने उनसे मामलात किया है और उनसे कहा कि मुल्क के हालात देखें, हम फ्रांस एम्बेसी को ना बंद कर सकते हैं और उसका एम्बेसडर यहां है ही नहीं है.
Thousands of TLP activists have been blocking Pakistan's busiest highway near Lahore city since last Friday, demanding the release of their leader Saad Hussain Rizvi and the expulsion of the French ambassador over the caricatures, which are considered deeply insulting by Muslims. Pakistan's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said on Wednesday the government would even use force to block the Islamists from entering the capital Islamabad.
Moving on, locals in Gilgit Baltistan have lamented government apathy to develop infrastructure in the illegally occupied region. They claim since the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party came to power in Gilgit Baltistan, no developmental work has been initiated, and blame that the government is making no serious attempts to address the demands for even basic amenities, leaving them to suffer.
Locals in Gilgit Baltistan have lamented Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's ruling PTI, the Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf party's government apathy to initiate any projects to develop infrastructure even after over 11 months of coming to power in the region. Locals claim that lack of proper roads, health and other basic facilities over the years has left the region as one of the most backward areas. They blamed the corruption and ignorance in the system has become a major challenge for the growth of the illegally occupied region, leaving its future in dark.
वज़राला के डायरेक्टिव्स पे 11 अरब रुपए तामीर और तरक्की की मद पे हाफिज अब्दुल रहमान के थ्रू यहाँ लगे हैं, जिसमें बड़े बड़े आरसीसी ब्रिजेस है, जिसमें यूनिवर्सिटी कैंपस है. आपने देखा कि गुब्स यासिर को हमने ज़िला बनाकर नोटिफिकेशन जारी करके उसके लिए फ़ंड भी मुख्तस करके रख दिया था, उसको भी उन्होंने इल्तवा का शिकार किया है. इसी तरह ये रोड जो गजर एक्सप्रेस वे था, ये हमारा प्रोजेक्ट है, पाकिस्तान मुस्लिम लीग नून का प्रोजेक्ट है. इसको 2 मरतबा उन्होंने ADP से काटा. अभी बना रहे कि सर्वे पे सर्वे कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हमें कहीं दूर भी तक नज़र नहीं.
Locals say they have now become increasingly intolerant of the Pakistani occupation as Islamabad consistently maintains a negligent attitude towards the illegally occupied territory and ignores even their basic demands.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghanistan's hospitals are grappling with the fallout of its rapidly spreading economic crisis. In capital Kabul's main children's hospital, the crumbling of country's health system can be seen in the eyes of the exhausted staff who have remained in the city, eking out their fast-diminishing stocks of medicines. This is the main children's hospital in Afghan capital Kabul, where medical staff are squeezing 3 babies into a single incubator because they don't have enough supplies. Nurses who once took care of 3 or 4 babies each at the Indira Gandhi Children's Hospital are now having to look after 20 or more to make up for the absence of staff who fled the country when the Taliban seized power in August. Crowds of mothers and sick and malnourished children filled the waiting rooms of the hospital.
تعداد مریضای ما فوق‌العاده زیاد است. در هر بیت که باید یک طفل باشه ما به تعداد 3 طفل مندازیم 4 طفل مندازیم.
Dr. Mohammad Latif Bahar, Assistant Director of the Indira Gandhi Hospital, said officials from the United Nations Children Agency UNICEF have given some help, but more is needed quickly to fill the shortage of medicines and supplies to treat malnourished children.
معاشات پرسنل است و از نظر مشکلات دیگه که در سطح شفاخانه داریم مشکل دوایی است و مشکل بخش مریضای سوء تغذیه ماست که به کمبود مواد تغذیه مواجه هستند.
Although the number of patients have fallen since the fighting ended, Afghanistan's hospitals are grappling with the fallout of its rapidly spreading economic crisis. UN agencies say as much as 95% of the population does not regularly have enough to eat. Meanwhile, the lack of support from the $600 million project administered by the World Bank have left thousands of facilities unable to buy supplies and pay salaries. For mothers like Arzu, they just want to save their children. She has already lost one of her 5 children to malnourishment-related illness and is unwilling to lose another. Moving on to news from Nepal. The Nepal Supreme Court Chief Justice Cholendra Samsher Rana has refused to resign from his post amidst allegations that he helped his brother-in-law secure a berth in Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba's cabinet as a reward for invalidating the move of former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's government to dissolve parliament twice, triggering an unusual judicial crisis. 15 justices of the Supreme Court has asked him to quit in the face of the recent controversy surrounding him. All Supreme Court justices have been boycotting benches starting Monday, while the associations of lawyers also have decided not to show up in the hearings demanding Rana's resignation, just as there are thousands of cases pending. Rana has rejected the charges labelled against him and even refused to resign from his post. Meanwhile, as routine business remains stalled, hearing of cases at the Supreme Court is being conducted only by Rana's single bench. According to the Constitution provision, 25% of the lawmakers in the House of Representatives can file an impeachment motion against the Chief Justice, and it requires a 2/3 majority vote to endorse the impeachment motion, leading to the removal of the Chief Justice. In delight for food lovers, an aircraft-themed restaurant remodeled out of a passenger airplane has opened up in India's western Vadodara city. Customers can enjoy eating on board in a flight while not actually flying, and the staff also functions like a cabin crew.
An aircraft-themed restaurant named High Fly has been opened up in Vadodara city of India's western Gujarat state. The owner of the restaurant said he purchased an Airbus 320 from a company in Bengaluru city to build the restaurant. Foodies looking for new and amusing restaurant experiences can enjoy eating on board while not actually flying. Just like the way one boards the flight at the airport, visitors entering the restaurant are given a boarding pass like a flight ticket, and staff also dresses to resemble air hostesses and stewards.
यहाँ पे हम लोग ने थोड़ा एक अलग से नया फूड भी रखा है, जैसे इटालियन मैक्सिकन थाई फूड भी जो है इसमें एडिशनल किया है, ताकि लोगों को फ्लाइट में बैठे तो जैसे इंटरनेशनल जो होता है खाना बाहर का, ताकि वो भी उनको करे तो रियल एक फीलिंग वहाँ पे आए कि एरोप्लेन में ही हम लोग बैठे हैं।
और यहाँ आकर देखा तो बहुत सारा प्लेन था, तो प्लेन में ऑनर से बात की कि हमको प्लेन दिखाओ अंदर से, तो ऑनर हमको ले गए प्लेन में, तो प्लेन में जाके देखा तो ऐसा लगा कि हम सच में ही प्लेन में बैठे हैं।
Sensors have also been installed inside the aircraft, just like a flight, to call a waiter. The aircraft restaurant can accommodate 106 people at a time.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.